Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Damon yet again with another edition of the rebooking video. I, in the next few weeks, I intend to have a basic video about what I think are the top 20 obvious Oscars snubs. And by snubs, I mean Oscars, not people who didn't win, but people who should have been nominated that weren't. I'll try to make it like four best actors, four best actors, four best supporting actors, four best supporting actor, and four pictures, but I'm not promising. And also, I intend to do a video in terms of movies, in terms of what I consider to be supporting characters that are not necessarily basically pushing the plot along that I feel stole the show. I gave you one spoiler, Janaz from Ghostbuster 2. He doesn't really push the plot along, but rewatching it, I've thought that Peter McNichol really knew how to steal the show, and everything he did was hilarious. Like saying to one of a painter in our class, saying, "Everything you're doing is bad. I just want you to know that." Like great pedagogical person. What a great uh, what a great pedagogical strategy to just say to somebody, "Everything you do sucks." Rather than improve, asking for giving them strategies or pointers, no, it just sucks. Things like that. Now, in terms of rebooking video, let's rewind the clock 5 years ago, 2021. I mean, the movie theaters were starting to reopen, and around May, June is where it really started. I remember basically like from January to May, you had Godzilla versus Kong. Uh, yeah, the first Mortal Kombat reboot, which all those movies were okay, fine, but they were nothing really at the movie theater that I felt was, I don't know, out of this world. I remember basically movies I went to see. There was Spiral. Yeah, I saw it in line basically with Chris Rock and Sam Jackson, which was okay. Uh, The It Man's Bodyguard's Wife, again, okay movie. Uh, but what I remember is like Fast Nine, and this is a movie that's not supposed to be. Uh, it's He has no right to be a comedy, yet it is. Why I say that? Simply put, because Roman, basically Tyrese Gibson's character, and Ludacris' character go to space for no reason. I couldn't hear anything in that scene because the whole movie theater was laughing out loud because it was so stupid and there's no way they could survive over there. Like it didn't make any sense. In fact, the whole movie basically referenced that Tyrese Gibson, basically, the way he keeps surviving makes no sense. Even the characters haven't mentioned this in the whole movie, so it's kind of like they were aware of the joke. But overall, it was silly, it was dumb fun, but I would rather have a Fast Nine than Fast Nine, which try to take itself way too seriously. Apart from the scene where An ingests something that was basically hallucinogenic substance, and it's never mentioned the rest of the movie again. Like I'd rather have that kind of version. But yeah, Fast Nine was this, and I love that John Cena was kind of sort of the bad guy. And the next one, Fast 10, all of a sudden, hey buddy, how you doing, buddy? It's like it went from James Franco's Green Goblin, Harry Osborn's Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1 and 2 to the end of the third one. Hey Peter, buddy, can I help you, Peter, buddy? That's how I felt across. Like, and I just started laughing. And I know it's 2 years later, but the fastest. I still can't remember. I still remember my girlfriend basically point view of hey, I'm gonna finish Fast 10 and there's to be continued. She just flipped the bird at the screen. I started laughing like crazy because like that type of movie shouldn't have to be continued. It's so lazy. Oh no, that's a rant on this. I'm trying to see what other movie that went to the movie. Black Widow was fun, but wasn't extravagant. The Suicide Squad with Joel Kinnaman, John Cena. Again, John Cena. It was the year of John Cena there because John Cena stole the show, but Idris Elba was pretty good. But I was laughing that Idris Elba and Will Smith's character was pretty much the same. Bloodsport and Deadshot are pretty much the same character. Both of them have a kid. Both of them are trying to do good for their kids. Basically, they're part of a Suicide Squad. They're the leader of this. They're both associated with Margot Robbie's uh, Harley Quinn. Things like that just made me laugh. And yeah, and Amanda Waller, who I believe is the real villain in the movie, as Viola Davis, played by, damn it, Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. was the real villain. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed that movie, but I felt like that summer did not have a stand-out best movie. I felt like it was just getting back into the rhythm. In terms of WWE, AEW, I think was basically like Kenny Omega's were the top, and I felt like there was a time when basically AEW, people talk about WWE or TNA being WWE's, you know, welcome home carpet. I thought TNA at least had some featured time on WWE. AEW basically treated them like nothing. They would put it on Collision and would still job to everybody and their son and not be mentioned. And on TNA television, AEW would bury TNA and TNA never had a comeback. So yeah. So in WWE, what was there at the time? WWE champion was Bobby Lashley, which I liked. I really liked Bobby Lashley as WWE champion. However, I still would have. There's part of me who feels like I think I haven't done it in my rebooking video. I think I would have had Drew McIntyre regain the title maybe at WrestleMania that year. You could have Bobby Lashley winning back at Backlash. And if I didn't do so in that video, well, I'm changing my mind now. But Bobby Lashley was very good as WWE champion. I like the Hurt Business, and I thought they could have done more with this. Universal champion, you got Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, I'm sorry, but it's like from the get-go, the moment he returned, it's like at least at that time he was more active, but I felt like less and less stuff happened with Roman Reigns over time. And yeah. So now I'm just thinking mentally, like, yeah, Bianca Belair is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Charlotte Flair is Women's Champion. I think, no, Nikki Cross is Women's Champion. IC Champion was Shinsuke Nakamura. US Champion was Sheamus. Tag Champions were AJ and Omos. SmackDown Tag Champion, the Usos. Women's Tag Champions were, I think it was either Natalia and, I think it's Natalia and Tamina. So those are champions. Again, I don't consider 24/7 championship 24/7, honestly. This is the one title that quite frankly doesn't need to be in any pay-per-view. It actually is worse if it does. Now, how would I book SummerSlam 2021? I would start off with the women's tag team titles, in which will be Natalia and Tamina taking on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And it'd be history with Tamina basically Nia Jax's former partner, Natalia having a relationship with Shayna Baszler. And since basically Nia Jax gonna leave anyway, you can have the champions retain in a fine 8-minute match. Then you can have Big E versus Baron Corbin in a 5-minute match in which Big E wins. For the SmackDown tag team titles are the Usos defending against the Mysterios, and you could have Usos win the title there. Well, they could win the title there, yeah. Then, fourth match for the Intercontinental title, you can have Shinsuke Nakamura defend against Sami Zayn. And I would have basically Shinsuke Nakamura retain fair and square. Then, if United States title, you have Sheamus as Damian Priest, and like in real life, Damian Priest win the title there. That's no problem. For the women's title, I would have Charlotte Flair defend against Rhea Ripley. If Nikki Cross, I'm not even sure I would have her win the Money in the Bank match, but if she does, I would have basically her fail in a cash in. Because everybody's winning or keeping their cash in, and it's about time we stop that. So yeah. Uh, Next up, I would have for the tag team titles, AJ and Omos versus the War Raiders versus RK Bro. You can have RK Bro win the tag team titles there. Afterwards, you can have Goldberg squash Jinder Mahal for the just afterwards. New Day versus Miz and Morrison. You can have Miz and Morrison basically lose a New Day to mishap, and this is where Miz turns on John Morrison. So afterwards, for the World Women's title, you can have Bianca Belair versus Carmella versus Naomi. And Becky Lynch does come back in this match. and she could take the place of maybe uh, Becky could take the place of Naomi. So basically, the whole match is a triple threat match, and it leads to basically, as Bianca Belair is the KOD on Carmella, Becky Lynch steals the cover and pushes Bianca Belair to, outside and pins Carmella to win the World Women's title or the SmackDown Women's Championship at that time. Then we're on to the last inning. For the WWE title, you have Bobby Lashley against Drew McIntyre. I said that you have Drew McIntyre win the title at SummerSlam, and Bobby Lashley can win it 1 month later. And this is like the final shot for Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. You have Bobby Lashley win. And for the main event, it'd be a four-way match for the Universal title. It'd be Roman Reigns defending against John Cena versus Edge versus Seth Rollins. You can have Edge and Seth Rollins. Basically, Edge pierce Seth Rollins through the guardrail, taking both of them out. Roman Reigns pins John Cena after two spears, one, two, three. And that's how I would have booked SummerSlam 2021. I don't think it's out of this world, but I think it would have been the best you could have done with that roster that time. So let me know what you think. Comments down below. Catch you guys later. Peace.